Hi again, it's M. If you are new around here, welcome in. I review anime on this channel, at least for now. I might step into broader topics at like a later date, but just kind of getting my feet with anime that I've watched and like, or that I'm in the process of watching and like. So today we're going to talk about season 2 of Attack on Titan and the weaponization of ignorance, particularly for building conspiracies. So season 2 of Attack on Titan was actually a pretty short season if you're at least going by the Hulu schedule. But we still got like a lot of details within that season. And the thing that stuck out to me that probably hasn't been covered all that much is how the government, the church, and even enemy infiltrators all have manipulated truth to control the masses that live within those three walls: Wall Maria, Wall Rose, and Wall Cena. However, we do have a few, targets of the system who wind up fighting back. And if you're like me and keeping track of each of the season's openings, season 2's opening was still really solid. So we start season 2 with actually quite a conspiracy. At the very end of season 1, part of the wall crumbled, partially revealing the face of a colossal titan. Not the same one that breached Wall Maria, but a similar looking one. So season 2 picks up right at that moment where Pastor Nick, a pastor from the church within Wall Cena, runs in and essentially tries to tell the scouts to avert their eyes. Nothing to see here. But of course, Hanji starts questioning Pastor Nick on why the hell we're now seeing a Titan's face through that wall. So it's through this investigation that we uncover that the monarchy and the military police have been hiding the fact that Titans are inside the wall. And why they would be hiding this tidbit turned conspiracy that is actually a pretty big freaking conspiracy, it's mainly for control, to convince people that these walls are the main thing keeping everyone safe. It's really a larger conspiracy at play, but we won't uncover that until the later seasons. But yeah, within at least the last 100 years, the monarchy and higher branches of the military police work to convince their citizens that the walls are safe, stable, and sacred, and not holding Titans at all. What are we talking about, guys? There's nothing to see here. Just avert your eyes. Nothing going on. But the secret of the walls really holding Titans is used primarily to control those within the walls and to also give them this false sense of security. Because if people feel like you are the ones who've made them feel safe this whole time, they're more likely to comply with most, if not all, of the orders that you give them. And in that same vein, they're also way less likely to question, rebel, or revolt against the systems of power that are in place. Remember when the military told all the refugees from Wall Maria to go and try to defend and all them people died? Yeah, that. Additionally, remember in season 1 when it was such a big deal that Armin was reading? That's actually because those at higher seats of power, beyond Commander Irwin and beyond Commander Pixis, and going up to the highest ranks of the military police and the monarchy itself, there seems to be the sentiment that's been passed down that the more ignorant and docile you are towards those in power, the better. So reading was actually kind of outlawed, if not extremely taboo, because back in season 1, Armin was even warned that he might get questioned by the military police if they saw him carrying around the book that he had. So then what we're seeing is this pretty overt effort to keep everyone within these three walls ignorant of the actual truth. So like I said before, season 2 was basically half of season 1, but we still learned a lot within those 12 episodes. We've now uncovered one conspiracy of the Titan within the wall, but we can't focus on that for too long because we have more Titans appear, this time closer to the districts within Wall Rose and Wall Cena, which led many in the scouts to believe that perhaps Wall Rose had been breached. Additionally, we got this giant dude, the Beast Titan, who talks his horses, and I think even the smaller Titans, if I remember correctly, like they're nothing. So the Beast Titan has made an appearance outside the walls and is causing havoc, which pulls attention away from the fact that the monarchy and higher rank branches in the military really hid the whole, yeah, there are Titans in the wall. In fact, they kind of make up the wall from the public. But because of the Beast Titan and other Titans' appearances so close to Wall Rose, the scouts go investigate whether the wall had actually been breached. And so they split up to inspect, and this part of season 2 really focuses more on Historia, currently going by Krista, Ymir, Connie, Sasha, Reiner, and Bertholdt. So this group with some of the more experienced scouts head towards an oak castle to rest for the evening, but of course that was short-lived because the Beast Titan interferes again and sends some smaller Titans over towards that area, which is actually a bit weird because it's understood that Titans usually can't really move at night. But it's during this battle, and really at the apex of it, when we see a little more of Historia and Ymir's backstory. More so, Historia's bit of backstory. So Historia is actually a victim of a conspiracy where she's basically the illegitimate daughter of royalty, but because the monarchy and church deemed her illegitimate, she was hidden away and sent off to the military. And because Historia's true identity was a threat to the conspiracy of some questionable lineage issues in the established monarchy, she had to basically alter her whole person. Her name was changed to Krista Lenz, and she seemed to have been raised by people who didn't really care for her and didn't really want her around. But it was Ymir who peeped this pretty quickly due to her overhearing some priests talking about it shortly before she herself joined the military, and who even called it out to Historia. And not only did this solidify their bond, but it encouraged Historia to be the one to break from this conspiracy for the throne. And much like Historia, Ymir was persecuted for existing outside the system. Well, first she was taken into this cult that was pretty external to the systems in power at that time, because another one of Ymir's secrets is that she's actually been around for 60 plus years, but mostly as a pure Titan. But yeah, she was persecuted for being this cult's goddess, false goddess, but goddess, and saying so, leading her to be injected with a Titan spinal fluid and tossed over the wall to face the outside, where she wandered the earth as a pure Titan before sort of preserving herself in hibernation. And after this period of hibernation, she winds up eating Marcel, who apparently was a comrade of Reiner, Bertholdt, and Annie, and inherited the Jaw Titan's powers. So in a sense, Ymir's story was sort of an inconvenient truth because she was brought into one conspiracy that at the time went against government rule with this cult, and then once she became a Titan and inherited the Jaw Titan ability, she became part of this more recent conspiracy. And this conspiracy not only hid the fact from at least some of the general public that humans can become Titans, some of whom can even control them, but it was also inadvertently a part of Reiner, Bertholdt, and Annie's conspiracy to infiltrate the three walls. Even right up to the decision of going back with Reiner and Bertholdt, Ymir was going to be presented as this inconvenient truth to their conspiracy plans because she basically stole a valuable power from someone else and thus had their knowledge of the Jaw Titan. But she'd know the truth of Reiner and Bertholdt's purpose for infiltrating in the first place, so they really had to get rid of her. Speaking of Reiner and Bertholdt, let's talk about their conspiracy to infiltrate and create these false flags. So Reiner and Bertholdt, along with Annie, infiltrated the scouts to pose as soldiers loyal to humanity while collecting intel and seeking out the Titan coordinate, who of course winds up being Eren. But in the midst of their mission as double agents, they've created these sort of false flag attacks where the blame is shifted towards the Titans, which is not a hard shift, but it's framed in a way that all of these Titans are mindless beings, even the variants who seek to destroy humanity by eating all the humans. However, it was actually a mix of Eren being revealed as a Titan and Annie using her powers as a female Titan that exposed this deeper concept that maybe some Titans had the ability to actually think and plot. So after the scouts captured Annie, Reiner and Bertholdt continued to play on the ignorance of the scouts and the people in that broader area within the three walls and act as these loyal soldiers. Ymir also does this, but for her own benefit and safety so that she's not persecuted again. But Reiner and Bertholdt keep playing into this role of the loyal soldiers, these stand-up guys who continue to collect and exploit all of the scouts' vulnerabilities until the day after the scouts survive the castle tower. And it's at this point that Reiner's had enough and is starting to crack and fracture, not only because he's been on double agent duty for like 6 years at this point, and at this time he's been a minor, so he started from when he was a child all the way up to when he's 15, 16, but also because he specifically has gotten sick of these Titans injuring him. He literally suffered a bite from one of the Titans when the Titans were attacking the old castle and decided that he was absolutely done with the shit. And I can't blame him. I'd be mad too. So in the most casual way, he reveals to Eren that he and Bertholdt are the Armor Titan and the Colossal Titan respectively, and that Eren should go back with them. Which was wild watching, not only the first time, this is my second time watching it. It was wild watching this back the second time because just seeing how casually Reiner said, by the way, yeah, I'm the Armored Titan, Bertholdt's the Colossal Titan, hey, come back with us. I'm sick of the shit. I want to go home. Again, I can't fully blame him at this point because I'd be sick too of pretending. Anyway, as this huge reveal is all coming to a head, we see the impact of Bertholdt and Reiner engaging in this conspiracy against the scouts in real time, and why it was such a betrayal to the rest of the scouts. But I think the one thing that's like this ultimate irony is that as Reiner and Bertholdt and even Annie were taking part in this broader conspiracy to infiltrate and attack humanity within these walls, they did so by playing on those people, specifically the scouts' ignorance of what they didn't know about the Titans, and used it against them. Just like the monarchy and church apparently were playing on the same people's ignorance about a lot of the same things. So we see, at least within the three walls, and maybe even where Reiner, Bertholdt, and Annie came from, that there are these systems of power in place that rely on a specific set of lies and people's ignorance. These conspiracies that have taken place so far, and this is only season 2, we haven't gotten to the juiciest parts of these conspiracies with the royal family and why Reiner and them were sent to infiltrate. But these conspiracies that have taken place so far were established for the sake of control. However, those within the scouts, particularly Commander Erwin and Section Commander Hanji, who seek the truth, as well as those who have decided to embrace and operate in their true identities, like Historia and Ymir, disrupt the system that's built on conspiracies. And while people's ignorance might have kept them, at least temporarily, safe, the question is at what cost? Because as we see here, it's very easy to use people's ignorance on something that seems difficult or scary or just out of their depth as one of the ways to oppress them and keep them in a certain order that's desirable to the ones in power. So yeah, that is season 2 of Attack on Titan. It was, like I said, it was pretty short, so it's pretty easy to kind of cover around this concept of conspiracy and people's ignorance. But let me know what you think in the comments below. How'd you feel about season 2 and just some of the conspiracies out of the entire series being revealed at this point? If you like this video, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. I'll be back next week to cover at least part 1 of season 3. I might do all of season 3 like I did all of season 1, but definitely part 1 of season 3. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.